Well, thank you so much for those of you who've been praying, who've been giving, who've been opening up their hearts to what's going on with the Ukrainian refugees that are coming out of Father's House Orphanage or now are in Germany. And so wanted to just ask Sarah if she could kind of fill us in on what's going on there. I was in Germany a couple months ago with Bruce, her dad.
Yep.
But Sarah's really in touch with that community. She lived in Ukraine for a while. She's really good, dear friends with Roman, his daughter, and all that's going on there. So just thought it would be cool to just hear from you. What's the latest? What's going on? And we know this is a long journey. Mm-hmm. How do we pray? Mm-hmm. How do we continue to, continue just to contend for what God's doing with these kids? And so, I'd just love if you could just give us an update.
Yeah, so since they left Ukraine, they were sort of brought into temporary sort of refugee housing in Germany. And so, this is a large group of children. It's not just like a single family that arrived. And so one of the big sort of things to figure out has been, making a long-term plan for them, really realizing that, they may not be able to return and probably not able to return to their country of origin because of ongoing war. And so creating stable housing and finding solutions for that, dealing with the differences in language. And so it's been a really, as anyone can imagine, a difficult transition. These kids were displaced overnight from their homes, which comes with a lot of emotional turmoil. And for the teachers and the leaders, there's a lot of loss of sort of the system that you had and the control that you had. I know for Roma, he was running it. He was the founder. He had systems and people, and, a lot of that was lost. You go into another country and they have their ways. They like things to be done, or the kids have been split up into different camps as well. So there's a lot of going back and forth between the camps. So the huge piece that they've really been working towards finding a solution for is stable housing and long-term sustainable housing for these kids. And so they looked at, different places, and it was very hard to find anything that was suitable for a large group. And so the model they had in Ukraine was to have sort of foster parents commit to a couple years and a small group of children live in an apartment building they had on site to give sort of a family feel to the housing and the situation. So they're going back to that model, and they have found a number of small homes that they can rent. And so now it's just sort of the challenge of getting people to commit and the right staff to commit to living with the kids, treating them like their own children, and really committing to being there for a couple years at a time. So that's, they have the housing, which is a huge obstacle. The fact that they have that is tremendous, and have a plan in place. And so now it's just really praying for and believing for the workers to have the heart for the kids to come alongside this. And then they'll be schooling the children is another big thing that will be coming since, they don't speak German. Just all these little pieces we don't realize when someone's displaced and they need to make this new place their home, that they're sort of trying to work out before school starts. And so, just really praying for the trauma. I know the children, there's been a lot of sort of psychological trauma that's come from this. And so just to give their heart that God would bring peace to the leaders and would give peace to the children, and that the right staff and the right people who can handle everything and be, able to care for them would step up and commit to this.
Yeah. Right now it looks like we know there's a lot there that a couple of the kids may be coming out here. What's that process? Why could they come? What's preventing other children coming out here, being hosting? Kind of what's the latest with that?
Yeah, so Father's House in the past has done these sort of summer programs where kids get to come and be with a host family. And so that was really the hope, was that all of these kids could just come here, be with host families. But because of the war, Ukraine put a stop to that, just said, we don't really want the kids, orphans, to be going too far, trying to keep them together and close to Ukraine. while the war is going on, and they don't have the administration within Ukraine right now open to like keep track. So those programs got closed, unfortunately for now. They'll open again at some point, but there were two girls that are very close friends who dream of being graphic designers and different things, and they, the way their paperwork is being done, they do have the ability to enter the United States on a student visa, and so that's they have an interview coming up, and I know there's like a host family here through Light Church, and so that just because of their paperwork, it's just a little more simple to be able to apply for the types of visas that are available. There's not very many visas available for underage children right now. So they have that interview, and hopefully will be able to come soon into this community, be part of this community, and have an opportunity to get the education that they've been longing to get.
Awesome. And just to kind of reiterate some things that just Sarah said, it just as we pray, really for like the right caregivers for these kids, specifically in the complexity of the language barrier, that they would have the right, that would just really settle well. Also, for a lot of you guys who've given financially, because of where they're going to be landing with these different homes, certain things are provided for by the kind of the Youth Welfare Office of Germany, and certain things are not. And so because of what you guys have given, we've been able to now help subsidize those things that otherwise would not be able to be available for those kids, even something as simple as a better diet that they can eat, and supplies for school once that begins. And so thank you guys for continuing to make that experience for them. Again, not have as many gaps otherwise that they would have had. But be praying for the right caregivers. Be praying for Roma and his family, for those who have been caring for these children through this traumatic time. And then just for peace in the midst of an uncertainty with like long-term what's going to happen. I know it's been one of the hardest things, is not having a sense of we'll come back when, or what do we do now. And so be praying for that long-term plan that God is working out, but then peace in the middle as we do that. And that's something as a church we can continue to do. And if and when it comes to a point where children are able to come to be hosted, we'll definitely keep you guys updated with that. But Sarah, thanks so much for sharing what's going on.
Thank you guys.